And now we can draw the lips, and then we're done with the facial features. I just want to strengthen this line. And also I want to draw the teeth too, but you don't have to if you don't want. I just want to show you how to draw them in the case that you want them visible in your future portraits. So I want to draw teeth, but not a smile, just a slightly open mouth. And now I just want to add the lines between the teeth to separate them. Like this, and I'm using an 8B for this. So because there's a tongue behind that gets no light, that's why it should be absolutely dark. Just carefully and use a well sharpened pencil. And also the teeth shouldn't stay absolutely white. That's why we have to shade them. And I'm using a 2H here and circular motions. And I press harder here over this tooth. Because the front teeth will get some more light always. So here I press a bit lighter. Okay. Okay, same here on this tooth. But when you draw a smile, only the front teeth can stay white. And as you work the rest of the teeth, use darker and darker tones as you shade them towards the corners. And this way the teeth will have their round shape. Okay, let's draw the lips one by one, and let's start with the upper lip. And I'm using a big pencil and I'm drawing the lower horizontal half of the upper lip, and this half should be much darker than the upper horizontal half. So we're going to use brighter pencil for that. And I'm leaving out here the edge, you can see, about 1 millimeter thick for the reflected light. And what I'm shading now is so-called self-shadow. And I want to draw lips with a bit of lipstick on them, and that's why I'm using a pretty dark shade. But you can use a bit brighter, you can use a 2H or whichever you want. Shade carefully here next to the teeth. And also here on the right side you can leave the edge for the reflected light like this. And now as you shade upwards, just press less and less. You don't have to make it smooth because we're going to blend it. I just want to make these two lips separated with an HB. So now the mouth looks slightly opened. Now we can shade the upper part of the lip. I'm using an HB here. And here you have to decide what kind of shape you want. It can be any shape, you don't have to draw exactly like me. So here that gradient transition is important to improvise the roundness of the lip. And you can achieve it by pressing harder over the B area and then pressing less and less as you shade upwards. Now let's blend it with a Q-tip. You can see how it becomes smooth. And you can see how the lower area is not even that dark anymore. Because as I mentioned already, a lot of times we are always eliminating a bit of graphite. I just want to use a blending stump for the edges. And now we can cover the reflected light because it shouldn't stay white. I'm using a 2H for this. So it should be much brighter, but shouldn't stay white. I just want to darken this tooth with an HB because it appears too bright to me. Now let's shade this reflected light on the right side with the 2H, like this. So you can see it's much brighter than the basic color of this lips, or actually the color above it, and it's still pretty bright. Now we can create some highlights with an eraser. I just want to brighten up here this reflected light above the teeth. Just above the edge between the lip and the teeth. And also let's create some highlights here in the upper area. So the upper part of the lip is always more illuminated than the lower part, and it should be highlighted. And in the lower part we just created the reflected light. So here work right under the edge, also leaving 1 millimeter between the cupid's bow and this highlight. And if you overdo highlighting, just go over with a blending stump and you will apply some of the graphite again, and it won't be too bright anymore. I often stipple because I don't want to eliminate too much of the graphite. And now we can finish this upper lip by adding some shadows. And I'm using an 8B here to strengthen the self shadow that I have eliminated a bit of the graphite with blending. And I just want to create the wrinkles like this. And after you have drawn a wrinkle, just blend it with a blending stump. Okay, now we can draw a lower lip, which should be quite brighter than the upper lip. And I'm using a B pencil here. And I start with the areas that get less light. Here next to the teeth. So if our light source is coming from the top right corner, this whole left area will be in shadow, so we don't have to create any highlights here. Just cover this hole with a B pencil. And just go around the highlight in the middle. So let's leave this untouched for now. And here we can shade this lower edge of the lower lip. Something like a 2mm thick edge. Now we can shade this area in the middle using an HB. So just cover the area that you have left untouched, like this. So this section in the middle should be much brighter than the surrounding area. And these two different shades will make the lip look round. You can use a single pencil for this whole area of the lower lip, but just press less in the middle and press harder all around. And of course, make these HB and B tones flow into each other by pressing a bit harder over the B edge using an HB pencil. And now we can blend it all with a Q-tip. Just carefully, try not to go over the teeth. You can see that I'm using a clean Q-tip for the mid area. Okay, now we can blend the edges with a blending stump. I just want to strengthen these dark areas, again with an HB. Okay, now we can strengthen the shadows that we created with the B pencil. because they become brighter after blending, and as you can see I have removed a bit of the graphite, so I just want to apply that again, and I press harder over some areas, particularly next to the 8B areas. And of course we have to create some wrinkles, which should be brighter over the highlighted areas, and they should be darker in the shadows. And when shading here next to the teeth, or actually under the teeth, leave out about 1 millimeter of the edge and shade under it, because we need that brighter to be this edge for the reflected light, the light reflected from the teeth. And this will give the lip round shape. And now we can create some highlights with an eraser. So here in the middle, the highlights should be the brightest, and they should also gradually disappear into the basic tone of the lips. And you can achieve that by slightly lifting off the tip of your eraser. So here you can add more details, or you can leave it like this.